Hello guys and guys, and welcome back to another Tutorial Tuesday episode here on Tuesday. Finally, of course, it's been a while, it's been a hectic month, so I'm ready to pick up these regular uploads again, so I hope you're in for the ride. If you are, make sure to smack that like button, but without any further ado, let's get into this episode. So today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite effects for intro creators in Adobe After Effects. Let's go ahead and cue the tutorial. Real quick before the video starts, if you guys have ad block on, it would be so awesome if you guys would turn it off just for this video, refresh the page and all cool stuff. It supports me and the show, so if you guys could do that, that would be totally awesome.
Alright guys, so here we are in Adobe After Effects. Today I'm just going to be showing you guys 10 little effects and styles that you guys can add to your intros or 2D intros or whatever. That these are styles that you can add to those to kind of liven them up a little bit, add more life to whatever project you're working on as far as graphic design goes. These are all going to be stock effects, so you don't need any third-party plugins or assets or anything like that. These are all going to be achieved using the effects that you can find in Adobe After Effects after getting it. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first effect I want to look at is Shine, CC Light Sweep to be exact. That's what it's called, Light Sweep. Basically, what it is it's an animated sweep that goes over your text like this. It's kind of like a light shine, and I really love this effect, especially for like text or titles on intros. I have this sweep just go over and it looks absolutely amazing. Now it's a lot different from just making like a white line go over your text, because as you guys can see, it actually does the edges. Actually highlights the edges of the text, which I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's actually really cool. And overall, it's just a very nice effect that I really enjoy to kind of add and embellish my text with. So that's that. All you do is like animate the center position as it goes over the text just like that, and you're all good. So that is why I really like Light Sweep, and it can be pretty much added to any project. Next up, we have Radial Blur. Now, I really like Radial Blur because it gives a little bit of life to a sync that you're trying to do with an intro. As you can notice, it kind of like gives it kind of a light speed warp looking effect, but it's really just a blur that kind of extends everything in a radial fashion. And I think it's really great because if you take a quick look, it just really accentuates that screen pump, and it makes it a lot more clean. Without it, it just kind of looks like it pumped but nothing really happened. It's just like, oh, okay. And it kind of gives it that sort of motion blurry effect as well. So that's one thing I really like about it. Now, the only downside is it's not like an effect you can just drag and drop on and be good to go. You do actually have to animate the radial blur amount to go up and down as your sync goes, or whenever you actually want it to hit. So, I mean, I guess you could just leave the radial blur on the whole time, but I don't really think that would look good unless that's what you're going for. So that is radial blur. Next up, for number 3, we have something a little bit different. Now, I don't see this in a lot of intros, and I don't personally use this in a lot of intros, but I can definitely see where this would come in handy. This is called CC Split, and I only found out about this a little bit ago, and I think it's just a really cool idea, so I wanted to feature it in this little sort of 10 effects that you can achieve. Basically, it just has like a little split that you can animate to whatever you want, and I just think it's kind of a cool thing. Like, I'm thinking maybe like you have text and it like opens up and then more text comes out of the middle, or you can just kind of give it like a scarred effect, like maybe just make it very small and then you can just kind of give it like a scarred effect. And you know, I don't know, it's very subtle, very kind of niche, but it looks very nice, and if pulled off well in sort of a 2D manner, I think it could be really powerful. Alright, coming at number 4, the order is kind of subjective on this one, but anyways, this one I find helpful all the time, not even just in intros, but in actual real life footage that I might be working on for like a short film or something. This thing is an absolute lifesaver. So, you might have an asset that doesn't quite fit or something, or I'll get to another use of it in a second, but let's just pretend like this doesn't fit and you don't want to stretch it because then it looks weird. Well, what you can do, and you don't want to resize it because I don't know, maybe it'll get blurry or something. I don't know. I'm just making up a weird scenario. This probably won't happen to you, but let's just say you wanted to have something there, and you know, sure, you could duplicate it and move it over and try to match it, and like, yuck, right? Then you have to move them both. However, there's an easier fix if you have a CC or actually just motion tile. It's not part of CC. If you put on motion tile and then you jack up the output width and the output height, and then check mirror edges, and then of course enable the effect, you'll see that it just creates a bigger version of what you already had by just getting each edge of the element you're working with and just repeating it over itself. So this thing is really helpful, and I'll show you why right now. So let's just pretend that you didn't have it on. You're just like, okay, whatever, and you wanted to add a wiggle effect to the position. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in my wiggle expression. Wiggle, let's just say 525. All right, so you have your wiggle expression, you know, your thing's doing its wiggle, and you know, you see these black bars. Okay, let's just pretend you stretched it, and then you start seeing these black bars around the top and bottom or left and right or whatever, and you want to get rid of those black bars because they're annoying you, right? They shouldn't be there, but when it wiggles and it moves, it displays the black bars. So what you can do to get rid of that is just apply your motion tile, and the wiggle should be so subtle that people won't even notice that it's mirrored. I can do this with real life footage of like outside camera shot stuff, and it looks obvious when you freeze frame it, but like in the moment when it's wiggling, it looks absolutely unnoticeable. So I really like this. It's a great way to mask imperfections, and it just comes in so handy all the time. Next up is something that I really like, and it's actually something you not think of naturally. This is a widescreen bars, and you know, yes, you could make a solid, right? Make your solid and then get your masking tool and just you know, mask it out, and then you could invert the mask and boom, bada boom, you got your thing, right? Well, I found a better way to do it, in my opinion. I'm going to make a new solid, and this is going to be where our widescreen bars come in, and I like this this effect better than just say masking out the anamorphic bars, and I'll show you that in just a second. It's because you can animate it and keyframe it and stuff. I mean, I guess you could do that with the mask, but it would just be tedious. But anyways, we're going to go to width and height sliders. I'm going to change my width to something like 4,000 just to get it out of the way, and I'm going to move the center up to the top right there, and just all the way, actually no, I'll just hold shift and move it all the way over. So I'll move it over here so you can't see it. This little line, I'll move it out here so you can't see it. And then I'm gonna change my height to whatever the height of the video is. So my video is 1920 by 1080, so I'm gonna change it to 1080. If it's 1280 by 720, you'd put it to 720. So there you go. I'm going to change the anchor to, I'm going to change the second position on the anchor so that the line goes just to the top, and that's about it, just to the top. And I'm going to change up my border, and you'll see those two anamorphic widescreen bars come in. They're white right now, but you can change the color to black, and there you go. So the cool thing I like about this is that your intro can start off with no anamorphic bars, and then you can like make them come in and then like bounce or whatever. I don't know, but they're animated this way, and I really like that because it makes them dynamic instead of just putting over like black bars. That serves no purpose. But if you can animate them, that just gives your intro that liveliness while keeping that sort of cinema anamorphic look. Okay, so this one's an interesting one. I really like it because it kind of looks cartoonish, and you can use this in your sync. So when the beat drops, it can go to this, and then in the next beat drop, it can do a different thing, like maybe a mirror or something. But I really like this because it kind of gives it a different like inverse look, and it's just something I kind of stumble upon, and I've actually used a few times now. So I really like it. I'm gonna show you guys how I set it up real quick. So anyways, up first, I have just my first layer. Let's pretend this bottom one isn't here. I'll have my first layer, right, and I'll put Minimax on it. I'll put the operation to minimum, radius 12, or you can mess around with it, but I like to keep mine at 12, or at least for this one, 12 works. The channel should be color, and don't shrink edges, doesn't really matter in this case. So anyways, I've done all that, and then I'll put a duplicate of this on the bottom, but with no Minimax effect. and I'll change the top one to the blending mode of subtract. If you don't see this blending mode right here, you can hit F4 and it will toggle showing them. So subtract right there, and I'm just going to show you what that does. So normal, and then I go and put it to subtract right down here, and that gives it like that neon lights glow effect. I think it looks really interesting and a lot different. You won't see this in a lot of places, so it's really unique, and I like it in that aspect, and it would work really well for syncing and stuff like that. So I don't know, do what you will with it, but I think it's really nice. Okay, so next we have something that's a little bit similar, but it's subtle in nature, a lot more subtle than the last one we looked at, and this is called Find Edges. So pretty much what it does, I'll lower the opacity here to give you a better look at what's going on here. So it's basically finding the edges, and then it's making them glow a bit. So pretty much all I've done here is I've put in Find Edges, and I've put it to about 50% blend, so 50%, and then I put CC Composite down here. You guys can just copy this value, so I'll talk about CC Composite in the next effect. I actually should have switched these two, but anyways, just copy these effects. I'll tell you about CC Composite in 30 seconds, but that is that effect. I think it looks really cool. You can see this a lot in Photoshop stuff, but I only just found out that you can do it in After Effects as well. So it's really powerful, but subtle in nature, but very powerful. Okay, so this is the one that I really like to push when I teach people new things in After Effects. I love CC Composite. It is just so dang useful. Anyways, this is something like a unique case that I came up with as far as a use for CC Composite. It can be used for so many different things. It's not like the other ones where it's just one thing, okay, it does this effect, done. It can be worked with so many other things. It is absolutely amazing. So anyways, let's just turn off our CC Composite and I'll show you what I've done here. So basically, I put in a drop shadow for my text, right? Normally it would look like this. So you put on your drop shadow, everything's cool and dandy, and I checked shadow only. Now the reason why I did this is that I just want the shadow, so then I can go in and add a gradient ramp to it. So I added a gradient ramp, right? And you'll take a look at this and be like, okay, cool. So you added a gradient ramp and nice. But if you wanted your original text on top of it, what many people would do is just duplicate the layer and then get rid of the effects and oh, okay, now I have the text on it. Cool beans, right? Well, there's actually a much simpler way to do it, and you can then avoid having to work with two layers instead of one, because if you're working with two layers, it gets really tedious really fast, because you're like, oh well, let's just keyframe the position. Now you have to work with two layers and select them both and then keyframe them both. It's too much work. So what if there's a way to put on the original image before all the effects were added, after the effects were added? That's where CC Composite comes in. So if you add CC Composite, I'll just get rid of it so I can add it and show you guys. CC Composite. If you add it, it'll take whatever the image looked like before you added the effects and apply it on top after the effects are put in. So it's really nice. And if it comes out looking weird like this, that means it's taking the alpha of what's behind it, or the transparency. Just unselect RGB only, and it'll just put the original thing right on top. So this thing is amazingly powerful, and you'll see it crop up in different effects that I show you guys throughout my tutorials and stuff. It's very useful. But anyways, it basically just composites whatever is before you apply all the effect stack on top of after you apply them. So that's CC Composite. Okay, so number 9 is kind of a cool effect that's really kind of simple in nature, and you wouldn't really think of it. You don't even need an effect to do it, really. You could just duplicate the layer and then move it over or whatever. But for the sake of keeping it under one layer, this is what I came up with. So anyways, you have offset, and basically you just shift it over. It seems really like such a simple thing that you wouldn't even need someone to show you, but you'd be surprised. So basically you just apply offset and then you scoot it over like that. And I actually think I messed with the height as well. Yeah, there we go. So you just scoot it over like that, and now you have one layer that kind of has like a double shadow, kind of a doubles effect. So if you like, I don't know, kind of cross your eyes, maybe that's what it would look like. But anyways, I think it's just kind of nice because it adds kind of a looking through glass effect in the fact that it kind of adds just like a slight offsetted reflection, and you can put this in between like sinks, and you can add it to like your main text or whatever to kind of give it that sort of I don't know, separated something look. It's very hard to describe, but I look forward to actually using this in a few of my intros. I've never used it before, but I just kind of stumbled upon this, and it's like, you know what, this could work out very nice. All right, finally, number 10, the piece de la resistance of this tutorial. I love this one. I just figured out about it. So pretty much it's called wave warp, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys already know about this. This is old news to a lot of you guys, but for me and for a lot of people, I just kind of first discovered this effect, and I love it. So pretty much, if you want to make your beat, right, you can make your intro bounce to the beat, but if you want to make it kind of like jitter and like wave warp, I just used the name of the effect there, but you know, I can, whatever. If you want to add some more spice to your sync or your beats, this is how you do it. So basically, it requires a lot of keyframing, but the effects are so worth it. So pretty much what I do is you have a wave type. So I'm just going to go to where it's going, and I'll show you the different wave types. So you can have like circle and sine and triangle. I like triangle. It's very kind of jagged, and it fits with this intro in particular. Unicircle, which kind of does something funky. Noise, which just kind of looks like just noise, like a TV, you know, static screen or whatever. Smooth noise, which kind of looks a little bit kind of cooler. And you know, that's the gist of it. Sawtooth, it's kind of like sliding tectonic plates, if you will. But I kind of like triangle for this intro in particular because it fits the kind of jagged style of the logo. So anyways, this is kind of how I did it. So I basically keyframed the wave height and the wave width to go up as the beat hit. So I went from 0 on these two to kind of like go up, and then slowly ease back down to 0, and then pop up, slowly ease back to 0, pop up, and then ease back to 0. So it's kind of like it's jumping to a wave distortion and then slowly easing out of it, jumping to a wave distortion, kind of slowly easing out of it. So I don't know, you can do a whole lot of other stuff with this effect, but this is just kind of one sort of scenario I would use it in. I think it looks really nice, and I've never really used it in an intro, kind of like the other stuff I've shown in this top 10 or whatever. But I really want to now. It makes me very, very excited to start creating intros using these effects, because it's just kind of one of those things you find out about, like, oh, that would be awesome to put in an intro. So you can mess around with these. Also, make sure wave speed is 1 or 2 or whatever. That just makes it kind of look like it's waving off to the side. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it back here so you guys can see the full effect. So I think that looks really good. Here's it without. So it's just kind of like, you know, doing its normal scale sync, but when you add it, it gets totally different. Alright guys, so that was my top 10. I really think that I could just go on and on for ages on something like this. There is no ultimate top 10. It all depends on the style you're going for. But this is just some things I threw together tonight, and I was just like, hey, you know what? These are some underrated effects that people don't really know about as much, and I thought I would bring some awareness to them. If you already knew about these, that's awesome, dude. And if you have any that you want to, have me or someone else know about, make sure to put them down in the comments. There's probably a whole bunch of underground effects that I've never even heard of lying within After Effects somewhere. So if you have a cool effect that you like to use for your intros or whatever, leave them down in the comment section below. I would love to kind of read through those, and it's kind of just a sharing experience. But anyways, with that said, let's go ahead and roll the outro.
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Tutorial Tuesdays here on TGODtutorials. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to smack a like on this video. That way I'll know to create more videos just like this one. Also, if you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified every time we put up a new video every Tuesday. And also, if you have a tutorial idea that you want to see me show you how to do, make sure to comment it down in the comment section below. I do have a lot of ideas, but I do struggle sometimes to find cool ideas for inventive tutorials to show you guys every Tuesday. So if you need to know how to do something on YouTube or whatever, make sure to comment it down below, and who knows, I might just pick your tutorial. But anyway, that's all my plugging. Thank you guys so much for checking out this week's tutorial. It means a whole bunch to me. I'm glad to be making these things again every Tuesday. And with that said, I will see you next Tuesday for another tutorial. As always, take it easy and keep creating.